السلام على خير المرسلين محمدين النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. The title of today's program is Earth Liberation Movement. I'd like to just read from one of our old flyers. The flyer is basically 9 or 10 years ago, 2011. This program we had in Oakland, titled Islamic Institute for Counter-Zionist American Psychological Warfare. Designed destiny, designed future, designed process. Global transformation and proper methods of goal attainment. We could turn the heat up just a little, just a pinch. The global consciousness awakening has arrived, and it will be televised. All humanity is waking up at the same time with a global vision of a new world full of unlimited possibilities. People across the globe are calling for a new deal for the earth and all of its living organisms, human, animal, plant, and beyond. We must visualize that world and start to connect and organize with those who can also see it, and more importantly, those who are willing to work for it. Together, we must develop a plan of action and work with missionary zeal to bring about and play a role in the Earth Liberation Movement, which aims to free the Earth from the parasitical behavior of man, establish a non-predatory system of interconnected global harmony, nurture and further a culture of Earth-first custodianship, understand and respect the rights of the earth, which should be treated as a living organism, which it is, and envision and actualize a global redesign for the 21st century. In order to make a new world, we need a new, improved human being to do it. The only question is, what role will Islam and Muslims play in this? From Wall Street, New York, to Mumbai, India, the world is waiting for us. This is one of our programs, I guess it was October 2011. That was 9 years ago. For a lot of people, 9 years ago is a long time. But for us, 9 years is like a simple few months back, a few years ago. The thought today is this. Here we are today. The world we live in, this reality have came upon us, it seems, all of a sudden. But for us, it's not all of a sudden. For us, we've been predicting, we've been analyzing, we've been collecting information, analyzing the information, chronicling the information, archiving the information. So we have been working for decades on this subject. We said more than decades ago that during this struggle, our closest friends and allies would be, we use the word tree huggers and basically environmentalists. Okay. So when we look at what's happening now, we say this is it. This is it. the way we see it right now, this is it. This is what we've been talking about. This is what we've been thinking about. And actually, we've prayed for it many times. Now, when Allah answers your prayer in almost exactly the same way that you asked, then it comes time to put into operation all the planning and organizing that you've been thinking about. See, we're a little bit different than most groups, like this global strategy of Islam. Okay. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. Who is better in speech than one who calls men to Allah, work righteous deeds, and says, I am of those who bow in Islam. Nor can goodness and evil be equal. Repel evil with that which is better. Then will be between whom and thee was hatred become as it were thy friend and enemy. And no one will be granted such goodness except those who exercise patience, self-restraint. None but persons of the greatest good fortune. This is 2002 right here. One more mountain to climb. That goes back to the old Negro, one more mountain to climb, one more river to cross. And it's, so when we go on ahead, we bring in our historical context with us. Technically, that's the reason we've been able to analyze all of this stuff, pre-plan and prepare, and when it happens, we say, yeah, well, this is what was being talked about and thought about. It's because we're bringing hundreds of years of history with us. That mean all the dreams and aspirations of people that had dreams but didn't even know what to dream or what to dream about. They just dreamed about freedom, and all their songs talked about it. Everybody talking about heaven ain't going there. Walk around heaven all day. When they die, they're gonna walk around heaven all day, and they're gonna get shoes. I got shoes. You got shoes. All the godchildren got shoes. Yeah. No, that stuff is real. You have to realize, okay, now, I will try to stop talking about myself. I consider myself very, very lucky because I was born in 1945. In 1945, everybody that was 80 years old or younger was born in slavery. Think about that. When I was born, my daughter reminded me the other day, Dad, you was alive during Adolf Hitler's time. I said, and then I counted up the end of the war. I said, yeah, I was alive 2-3 months when old Pharaoh was around. So the other thing that was important is my father was born in 1900. My Aunt Dale was born in 1898. Because see, I was the youngest child, so all of the people was already older when I was born. And then I remember my grandmother. I remember her, she lived a long time. She didn't pass away till I was 12 or 13. And she's born in 1871. And my grandfather was older than her, so I'm assuming, although we don't know when he was born, but that means he was born in slavery too. That's just my regular grandfather. Everybody else talk about their great, great, great great-grandparents and my great-great-great-great. I don't talk about it like that. I talk about it like different. Okay, now I want you to remember think about the attitude of the people in the Deep South. They never went anywhere. When you was born in a little town, you probably never went no more than a few miles away from that till you got grown. And so all the customs and habits, I can remember when they describe Reconstruction, I see that exactly, that's the way we lived. Same as Reconstruction. It was the same. In the South, in 1940s, and we left in 51, it was the same as Reconstruction. No, it was definitely the same. Plessy versus Ferguson, all that was alive and well. The point I'm making, one more mountain to climb, one more river to cross, all of this stuff goes back to the dreams and visions other people had, but it incorporates all of the modern realities and the so-called educated realities. Hilton's novel, Lost Horizon, and all that stuff, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, Wizard of Oz, all that stuff, yeah. Skies Bluer there. All the writings that we have made all along, and it's page after page. It's talked about this period that we're in now. So that's what I'm going to talk about for a minute, the period that we're in now. And we start off by saying, this is it. The possibilities are unlimited. This is like the whole world is here, and the world is in a state of getting ready for something in the future, the near future. This is the first time these changes, except Pharaoh getting drowned and stuff like that, these things happen this quickly. Because when it talked about when you look at the fall of the Roman Empire, it was long. It was hundreds and hundreds of years. And finally, it was overtaken by the Muslims, well, the eastern end of the Roman Empire, Byzantium. Constantinople, 1453, signaled the final collapse of the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire was collapsing 1,000 years before that. Nero fiddled how Rome burned, that's in 400 and something AD. Yeah. So that took a long time. All the things that the fall of Babylon, that wasn't, it says in 1 hour and no, that stuff didn't happen in no 1 hour. It was generation after generation after generation for a decline. Now, here we are, we hit with something all of a sudden. Well, it's sudden to everybody else, but it's not sudden to us. It's not sudden to us because you read all the things we're talking about. We must develop and plan of action to work with missionary zeal to bring about and play a role in the earth liberation movement, which aims to free the earth from the parasitical behavior of man, establish a non-predatory system of interconnected global harmony. That sounds big time for the Negro, but nurture and further a culture of earth first, custodianship, caliphate. Okay, now this stuff is here. This stuff is right here. It's on us. So I'm going to be general, but This is a world full of historical opportunities and possibilities for us. We've talked for years about a 20-year cleanup period to clean up the earth, that whatever we do, it would be automatic, that we set aside that 20-year period. And the system that we set up would be a temporary system. That means it's not like you get a constitution and you just sign, seal, and you got to stick to that for. No. We have to, in order to get the earth where we want it to be, right? Let's say we visualize the earth as we want it to be. The vision will probably be about the same for most people. Then we design a system to produce that. We got enough psychologists, sociologists, and historians, right? We have the wherewithal, we have the know-it-all, or not know-it-all, but we have the ability to do that. But the most important thing is the vision. What is the picture that you have of the future? Now, we're different than, when you look at the movies, most of them are dystopian. When you look at movies of the future, it's wrecked cars, collapsed buildings, right? 90% of them. And a group wandering around with a mixture of ancient weapons and modern weapons and killing each other. And right, this is dystopian. We're utopian. We're utopian. I mean, we are a utopian movement, organization. And what part we want to play in it is utopian. And we want to prevent the dystopian. Okay, that's what we want to do. Whether we win or fail, that's up to Allah. But we're going to put our energy and our focus on that picture that we want. And that picture is the first stage of this. That picture is that we develop a temporary system that includes a temporary economic system. Because you have to have an economic system to do it. We've talked about, we use all the aircraft carriers to pull big barges a mile long with whole cities, almost to go out in the ocean and clean up the deep ocean. Each one to be living quarters. You know how big, just imagine big 5 or 6 story barges. The aircraft carriers, they're nuclear carriers. They got enough power to pull them things, and you pull a whole city out there. And one is a big giant park with trees and playground, all that, yeah. And you go out there in the deep ocean, and your job is to clean up the deep ocean. Yeah. We got other people that are less in time. In other words, their time is shorter. They'll clean up the medium. And then we have our shoreline crew. Now remember, they got a lot of work to do. They got to clean up this whole thing. They got to clean up this whole earth. Okay? They got to reinstitute a system that allows the earth to do what it did originally, to clean itself up and da-da-da-da. During this period, this is just my thoughts now, we don't need no production of new stuff. We don't need no new stuff. When we come back after 20 years, we're going to have a whole system ready. Right? Solar energy, all that, and all of that stuff. renewable fuels. In the meantime, we'll have big factories where they disassemble the cars. These cars we got now, we just use all them up. Take them apart, put new generators in them. You know, the car you get from us, it'll be brand new. You'll send it in the factory, it won't produce nothing. You'll send those cars in there. There's a Toyota section for the 1987s to 89s, whatever, and they, instead of putting cars together, they unscrewing them, taking them apart, polishing up, shining up the whole show, right? Think about it. And reuse that stuff. Food will deal more food with more local food. That won't prevent trade, but we're trying to use up as little energy, as less energy as we can. So we may have a few boats of grapes come from Chile and a few mangoes from Mexico and a few tomatoes, but we ain't gonna overdo it. I don't think y'all would remember do you remember your mother canning food in those your grandmother? Mason jars, yeah. Pears, peaches, all the stuff that you don't get in the winter. You don't have to can no, you can go any time you want, right? You can go in any store you want, and they got mangoes all year round from down in South America or maybe Florida. Tomatoes, you get tomatoes all the time. Because tomatoes grow in Mexico, they grow down in Florida. Pineapples from Hawaii, from South America, right? Okay. But bananas from down, anyway, all the way down and from Mexico on down. Bananas. Okay. So what we want to do is regulate and not use up. Technically, we don't have to produce much clothing either. Here's why we got tons of clothing. It would take us 20 years to wear out, and we'd bring back sewing. No, after 10, people forget that I ain't seen poor people with no patch in their clothes. You seen any?
I'm thinking. No.
I haven't seen none. I don't remember. I know I have, but I haven't even seen nobody with that put any cardboard in their shoes.
You know, my stepdad used to do that.
Yeah. People used to do that.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's interesting that you're saying that. Somebody I listened to said that's kind of what hurt Africa's production efforts, because we're sending old clothes
Over there, yeah.
So they don't have the need to produce or get into producing their own clothes.
Right.
So that goes to what you're talking about.
That's true, but technically, see, in a needs-based world, we got zillions of computers. If people have some needs over there and we have excess over here, we send it to them. That's all. It's easy. In this earth we live in, if we say, okay, at this rate, we're going to run out of corn and this, that in 6 months. Fine. We just plant wherever corn grow, and it'll grow in 6 months. We just grow it over there, right? We can't starve to death. We got too much science. See, we have the science and the technology to do what we're talking about right now. Before, it wasn't even needed because it was only 100. Only we got the ability to ruin the earth last 100 years. But even World War I, World War II, when they sunk hundreds of oil-laden ships, they didn't destroy the ocean. When we grew up, the ocean was still fresh and clean. Only this plastic and the super chemicals. But anyway, we don't have to go over we know what the problem is, but here's what we're talking about. The earth cleanup. This is our recommendations. This is our recommendations. To who? The people that we can get to listen. Earth first, 20-year cleanup period. That's what the focus is. We push to agree on that. And that means the system that we develop would be part of that 20-year Earth cleanup period. Consumerism is not necessary. Go buy this, go buy that. That's been the problem. That we've overtaxed the earth. We're overtaxing it before. When we finish, the earth will be able to rejuvenate. In that period of time, we'll plant billions of trees. So anything we build, so we don't have to worry about the air getting cleaned up. If we're not producing that much, right? The air is already 20% better now in a month. Good God Almighty. You see how fast that is? Okay. Consumerism, no unnecessary production. The unnecessary production. And then we know when it would be necessary to produce something. Why? Because we can see how much we got left, and we could say, all the computers feed into the thing, and it says, well, we're going to run out of such and such in 3 or 4 years. Well, we got all the time in the world to prepare for that. But it's a needs base. No unnecessary production. That's been the problem. Consumerism. To get this done, we'd have to legalize drugs in the West, of course, not in the Islamic countries, but legalize drugs, legalize all of them. The only thing, the drugs might as well be legal now. You got to pay so much money. But suppose you can go down to the drugstore, which is what it is, and get drugs would cost the same as salt, right? Drugs would cost the same as salt or pepper or stuff like that, right? If it wasn't illegal to produce it, you just collect the opium, right? Cut the opium in the tar, then produce it, and off you go. It's just so high because it's illegal. If it's legal, you cut out crime syndicates. You cut out crime syndicates. If you're a drug addict and you don't have to pay, you don't have a $50 or $100 a day habit, you just have a $1 habit or a 50-cent habit that you do drugs Just like you use salt or pepper, or if people thought the prohibition go away, everybody's going to be drunkards. Not really. Alcoholism proves one thing. Proper advertisement, I mean really proper advertisement, not the stuff they do now. But alcohol, cigarettes, and everything else will be minimized. Because we'll have the get high and structure. He's instructing people on how to get high. What kind of high do you want? You want this kind of high? Right? What kind of cocaine you like? You like the kind that hits you real hard, bang, 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 which Negroes like. Or you like ting-a-ling-a-ling flakes. You know, ting-a-ling, you hear bells. Which one do you want? You could go in the store and buy the one you want. When it's not illegal, the desire to get involved in it don't go away. Right? It don't go away, but it ain't no big deal no more.
It's not profitable.
Huh?
It's not profitable.
Not only it's not profitable, but see, if people are not, well, we have 7 billion people on Earth. For this new project, we're going to need a global cooperation. But if somebody want to take a 10-year breather and stay high, right? Why put them in jail? Why do it? This stuff is old. Everything that happened before this is BC, back then. It's way back there, before Hijra. All the stuff that happened to us too. But those things that happened to us we have been a target for decades and decades. It was to teach us to be ready for this. It was preparation. Okay. So legalize drugs. Remember, with proper advertisement, with proper all of that stuff, you won't have people wanting to be. When people learn how to get high, they might want to. They do like I used to do with them little bottles of ginseng. And I used to drink Coke and about 1 bottle of ginseng a day. I just put a little in it. And then the Coke would bust it up. And one day, when I get a little tired, I just take a little ginseng. The ones you get right there in the store. They're everywhere. So I learned how to keep a little buzz, a little light buzz. I mean, just a little, I don't want to be high running around looking like a fool. I just want a little, there's a lot of things you can do that with. The only people that get plastered drunk and falling out is the same people did it when I was growing up, when we were younger. When you get older, you don't want to, like the young kids, they want to get plastered, right? At the colleges and all that. But when you're grown, you don't want to, man, I'm unconscious, I'm doggone, a girl, you can get raped like that. You know what I mean? You don't want to be falling down drunk, right? The same thing about getting high. Anyway, we'll go with the judges are coming this way, cut down on crime. When the white folks saw that prohibition had produced mafia-type organizations, syndicated crime, that's one of the main reasons they stopped. See, before, what was crime or vice was alcohol and prostitution. Gambling and prostitution. That was vice. gambling and prostitution. But when alcohol came in, shoot, they said Al Capone in Chicago was making $750,000 a week. That was impossible. It was impossible. They had enough money. The gangsters had more money than the city did. That's why it took them so long to put him away. They had to bring the feds to put him away, because he could buy the whole city. He bought the whole city. All the police department, everybody, he just bought them because they had that much money. Why they never did that with drugs? Because drugs was here designed to, the heroin and all that, to slow down the Negro, to break the back of the movement, and to keep him in jail, to take all of his rights. You know, all of those things that they did to us, high crime neighborhood, lower the threshold for illegal searches and seizures, right? All of that, The police come to houses now naturally with helmets and bulletproof vests on. That's not a police force, that's a military force. What are you guys doing? They create the problem just because Negroes want to rebel a little bit and white folks want to go out and wear flowers in their hair, stuff like that. Just so they give them dope and run them crazy as LSD. We can fix all of that. That's not a big problem. Legalized drug. Religion, the focus would be whether Yahuda, Nasara, As-Sabiqun, any who believe in Allah and work righteous deeds will have their reward from their Lord, and no fear will come upon them nor they grieve. This is our focus. The ayat we just read, who is better in speech than one who calls men to Allah with righteous deeds and says, I am a Muslim. Our focus is on those ayats. Our focus is on the unifying ayats. We're not going to go call people names and all that. And even the Quran says, revile not those whom you call on besides Allah, right? Or else out of ignorance, they'll talk about Allah. Yeah. In other words, we got ayats and hadith. Ain't nobody going to heaven but Muslims and da-da-da. We got those. But who wants to focus on those right now? We got to fix the earth, right? And it probably means submission to the will of Allah, which technically they're all Muslims. All the prophets was Muslims, right? So the people follow one of the prophets. We got to put this thing out where it works for modern times, for now, where we can influence the direction of change. Okay, forever target. Yeah, well, we've been the target all along. This is a good period. This is a great period to be alive and to be active. In order to do this also, we have to think big, very, very big. We have to think big and be grateful because we're alive at this time that allows us, as one motivational speaker, leave your fingerprints on the pages of history. We have the opportunity now to leave our fingerprints on the pages of history. That's what me and you do. As Negroes, and if we follow, look, if we implement who is better in speech than one who calls men to Allah, work righteousness, and says, I am a Muslim, Nor can goodness and evil be equal. Repel evil with that which is better. That's beyond Uncle Tomism. That's beyond turn the other cheekism. That's beyond, they was trying to create one type of Negro. Well, we're going to outdo them Negroes that the white man created. We're going to outdo them with kindness. That's what the Quran tells us to do, right? We're going to repel evil with good. That's all. It's been a cardinal principle of our talk and all. It's just now, it's easy to see why, right? Why that stuff has been evolving. What's been coming up to the top? It's just that it's being, when you're groomed for a mission, everything fits after a while. All the other people that don't want to go along, they could go and do what they want. We're dealing with what our focus is. What we want to do. If we're still out here shouting in the wilderness, we'll be out here shouting in the wilderness. Because we're doing our job, right? It's not our job to stand over the people, and it's our job to bring this message and put it in a way to where it's clear, concise, and understandable, and it's not confusing, you know. And we have faith in the human being. This is an epic period in history. This is, in fact, this is the epic period in modern history. It's bigger than World War I, World War II, and all of those. This, and the enemy is a so-called disease, but the lurking enemy too is the system. The things that what is their goal? The system's goal, if it was a normal thing, it would be to break everybody, drop the prices in the dirt, and then go around and collect, get all the people through out of their houses. I don't think that will work this time. Because you notice the stock market, it ain't going down. It was going down, down, down. Now it's up, up, up. It's back up to 24,000. something like that. It was down to 19, down from 29 and all that. One of the guys I used to pay a little attention to, not Muhammad al-Ariyan, Mansour al-Ariyan. He's one of them Wall Street people, but he might have be in semi-retirement now. But he says there's no reflection in the market and in the economy. The market goes up off of good news. It ain't been no good news and I don't know when. So why is the market not going down? Because the government is pumping. I know they didn't pump 10 trillion into it. But that money they pumping into it, and the government has admitted, yeah, we're going to keep the economy up, da, 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 da. And guess what? Where does that money go? Do it go to me and you, the poor people? That money, the only people in the stock market now, after being burned so many times, is the rich and powerful, right? When they done pumped, let's say they done only pumped 8 or 10 trillion in the last few months into the market. You'd have to pump that much to keep it up. That would be transferring money to the wealthy. My feeling this time is that I don't think that'll fly. We said this is either the first chance or the last chance. This what we're doing now is the first chance for the human being to remodel his own existence, not be modeled by the king or by wars and by, but regulated progress, not controlled, with a dictator over you, but, kind of light planning, and a world that does not rule by money. The Quran was right about riba, circulating amongst the rich. And once you get riba started, see, you don't have to work anymore. Your money work for you. That stuff that they say and motivational thinking, OPM, other people's money, that's haram. That's not trade. Unless it's done in a certain way. Riba is so bad, the only time they say riba, those people who do that, they're at war with who? With war with Allah. You can't get no, hey, I don't want none of that. Right? That's not a winnable war. Anyway, so let's keep on for a second here. So focus on the future, visualize the earth we want to live in. It's signs in the economy and everywhere. We will know very soon. Well, technically, we already get a feel for the way they're going to do with the economy. They're technically, looks like it's another scheme. That when it's all said and done, that whatever happens, that means they, gonna wind up with all the money. And the people would be in more and more slavery. The concentration of wealth, just simple stuff. It was some silly program a long time ago. It wasn't a program. It was a movie. Sylvester Stallone was in the movie, and it was about the future. And they had dinner at one place, and it was Taco Bell. Think about it. And what's the name was from our time. He said, Taco Bell. And then the guy said, no, that was a great something or other. And Taco Bell is the survivor. And I mean, it's a gourmet place. Taco Bell is where this is Sylvester Stallone. He played in it, and that woman that played with him, I forget it. They was polices of some kind.
Oh, you talking about Judge Dredd?
Was it Judge? It wasn't Judge Dredd.
It's a movie where if you're a police officer, you do a good job, they put you on ice, basically.
Right.
And, basically he got unfroze.
He got unfroze. That's right. He got unfroze in the future.
Yeah, to stop a criminal that was, giving the police a hard time.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, that was it. Yeah, that was it. But the point was about Taco Bell. Now, they gave money not to the gourmet restaurant, because the gourmet restaurants are medium and small size. They're specialty place. People go there, but they say, I want you to take me to such and such. The food, the wine, everything. Okay. But they gave money to Potbelly or some of them big old people that don't need the money. So was it accidental? Are they trying to put all the small people out of business? Because you have some freedom. When you have a business of your own, you have a lot of headaches, but you also have some freedom. So if you want to establish a dictatorship, the thing that you want to minimize is freedom, right? In order to minimize freedom, you have to make people dependent. Make them think they got freedom, but make them dependent on McDonald's or anybody. They're not going out of business. Why do they need money? Minimum wage, right? Minimum wage. That's who they want working. They don't want cooperation like you go in and you have a good meal and you leave 15%, 10% of the tip. And they share all that. You don't get a big salary, but you share all them tips. You want to cut that out in people. One thing they're mad about this period is that people, instead of getting mean, just think, you're not hearing about mean robberies. You haven't heard of not one mass shooting. I don't want to call one on. Not one mass shooting. When you're watching the local news, usually the local news is so-and-so snatched a purse and ran down the street. That's all it is. And then they have one school where they raised a pretty balloon. One. You don't hear about that right now. Why? Look what happened. This thing is bringing the good out of people. That we're all in it together. We have to share. They are bringing back the community spirit. They ain't bringing it back. They done brought it back. They done brought it back. And very little, the only hate speech you hear a lot about is the fool on TV. He trying to get better, but he ain't gonna get no better. He done already blew it, right? Therefore, our sign is clear that our system will be developed to help bring the good out of people. Because that means their basic nature is good. Because when this stuff happened, there's restaurateurs cooking for people. There's people, all of a sudden they wake up and they say, hey, the people we haven't been paying no attention to are the real heroes. You have to be a hero to go in there with no mask. Well, they getting more masks now and they getting a little more, but still, right? Shoot. For a while, you'd have to be tough. You know, just think how tough you had to be minded to go in there and the people in there got a disease that might up and kill you. And you ain't got no real protection, and you know you don't have no protection. And then the highest number of deaths for a while is those people. You have to be pretty serious. So they really are heroic. Don't forget about what the news is. They want to make a fool out of everybody and forget about them next week, you know. Yeah, you go in there and get yourself killed. I go to war. Or our heroes going to war. Then you get back here, boy, it ain't no fun. You now, what they call them, wounded warrior. Signs of economy, stock market. The intent could be get the rich super richer. It's how we interpret the event. Now, we want to focus on the wealthy on down, not Bill Gates and them. because they probably, Amazon and all them people, them kind, they ain't got the Holy Ghost. We gonna help nobody. They just cranking up, making more money. You know what I mean? They, Deado, Beto, whoever them people are. Okay. No, the wealthy people, but you got to remember, the wealthy people are not stupid. They're our allies too. When I say the wealthy, that means people are, let's call them the upper middle class. And even a little higher, we can't forget that they're human beings. We have to enlist them. Just think about Hollywood and all those people out there. Hollywood, they got a lot of people that's socially conscious. Every demonstration we had, somebody from Hollywood was there. Susan Sarandon was sitting right there on the steps, just in regular clothes, just like she wasn't extra fine or extra ugly. She was just a human being. Think about all the rest. I mean, they got white folks out, and Negroes too, that really, I think Leonardo DiCaprio, they got a whole crew. Poor Jane, she survived. That girl got longevity. I don't care what nobody said. That girl been around. Hey, Hanoi Jane, what do they call her? Hanoi Jane? They called her something like that. Yeah, they, huh? Bless her heart. That girl got to be 75. She older than I am. I believe she's up in the 80s. Jane Fonda. How old is Jane Fonda? Not that it's important. Forget it. I believe she's 80 something. But anyway, but all of them, they would be happy. Remember, how much influence do the movies have? The movies, man. I'm telling you, I knew the movies were serious, but when I saw Superfly and I saw the people change their clothes from fatigues and jump boots and Tams to Lord Jesus's and maxi coats, I said, boy, that's cold-blooded. I mean, and it was just like snapping your fingers. Okay, but now remember, the utopian world, if they put it in people's mind, the people have a visual, something to think about. We have to incorporate them. So Hollywood. The wealthy, Hollywood. Now, how we interpret these events have a lot to do with the reality, how we see them. Just remember, when you came to visit me at the hospital, right? All I said, barely could say it, was optimism, optimism. Couldn't say nothing else. Couldn't remember nothing either. Lucky I got that out, but that was optimism. And that's how things came out. But that's how we look at everything, with optimism. It don't make no difference what they plan. See, you got to remember, there's visible and invisible things working for us. You got to remember, the earth itself, not only Allah is on our side, so that means it's a done deal, but the earth is on our side. The earth wants us to be victorious, so it won't have to go all the way. I want you to think of the earth like it says, it's a living organism. Suppose the people keep effing up the earth. You're not going to blow it up. What's it going to do? It's going to shake these niggas off of it. It's going to build like a body got cancer, right? To build something around it. Yeah, it's going to isolate it. It's going to cut it off. It's going to drown it or burn it up. It's already, the science is already here. That's why I say this is our first chance or our last chance. This is our first chance to make the world with unlimited possibilities, where the human being can live like something. I mean, it's just got to the last few years that everybody wasn't serfs or slaves. Can you imagine how them people live? All that matted hair. In Europe, they didn't bathe. They had lice on them. You know, just how comfortable. Look, if you was alive 200-300 years ago, you didn't really have a life. You just, I mean, just physically, you didn't live long. But all the little bugs and all the things eating at your skin and tapeworms and all that stuff, right? Yeah. All that stuff. Hey, man. And now we got smooth our face out. We all live like kings used to live. Smooth, get some, smooth our face out. Shape, right? That's frivolous. We can still do that, but it's frivolous. You can't put a big thing on it that my hair look better than hers, and that's who's going to be, you know, the queen for a day, all that. Okay, so how to interpret events? As we said, we choose utopianism. That's what we choose. Dystopianism is possible, but we're just writing it off. We're just not going. Like they say, we ain't going there. But we have to give it all of what we got. We have to, now it ain't new now. It's not, just remember what we've been going over in our preparation. 2020 vision. What happened in January the 3rd? Didn't even wait till it's still almost New Year's. The first thing is Soleimani got assassinated. We said, hold it, I ain't going back to California because there's something going on. What did they do? They revived Iran. Do you hear Iranians moaning and groaning about what they not? Why? They prepared for everything. And they doing better than Boss Man. You don't hear them crying because they put that stress in everything that's been put on them. They adopted the normal. They're more progressive than anybody in the region. They're using their country and all, and it's a good thing, it's a big country. And in metallurgy, Iran is one of the top countries in the world to how much metal is in the soil. In Bandar Abbas, on one of them islands, the brothers cracked the rock and showed, said, look at you could see the metal. It just needs to be refined. Iran has sufficient water. Its military is able to defend itself. And you know what? Everybody know that too. And us in Iran, look, Allah's in charge of all of this. The last time I was in Iran, I visited President Ahmadinejad. I believe he has a big part to play because Zarif is a pragmatist and a realist. He's a realist. So there's the U.S., they're this big, they have so many people, here's us, we have, it's just real. He adds it up that way. He's a realist. Ahmadinejad is an idealist. You could tell how the way he acted here. You could tell the way he spread money with the poor. There's one thing, I told you one thing that he said that no politician I had never heard one say, you know, before. But there's one more thing. somewhere during our conversation, he said, okay, what can I do for you? You know, in other words, how much money do you need? How much money do you want? Because a lot of those things are set up kind of like that. You know, the people go and they're getting money or they're supporting. Excuse me, extract that from the record. But I said, no, I'm all right. I got it covered. Now, to other people, I didn't say that. But to him, to make sure is always a clean relationship. It's not a money relationship. But he asked me directly, and other people say, you know, as if, okay, before you go, what can I do for you? I said, no, it's all right. No, I'm fine. That made our relationship different and clear. Because when we was at the UN up there, they said 2 or 3 times, they said the most active person in here is the African American brother down at the end of the table sitting next to Bahraini, a guy out there. So he looked up and it's okay, I got it. This thing is being worked out. This thing, you could say it has been worked out. So we have to give it what we got. We have to give it everything we got. Okay. A couple of more things. We talked about think big, about being grateful at this time, and remember Wallace, you know, about making use of your time or spending your capital right, this melting away. Your choice or them. This is kind of like a statement to our vision of the future or their reality. Like right now, technically everything that happened before, I mean, we have to deal with it, but it's not important. Everything that happened before this is technically not important. Everything that happened was a trial and a test and a human development. So now everybody knows who's who and what's what. Okay, now. So what we say to people is our vision of the future or boss man. Take what you want. I'm not going to chase nobody around and try to convince them of nothing. You already see where we're coming from? Hey. I'm not going to call people names like dummies and stupid or anything like that. But if anybody right now still with boss man, they need some assistance. They need some assistance. Psychological assistance to come to conclusions, to analyze. The other thing is what we were saying about the system itself. I mentioned David Spees, I think it was, down there, FBI, and the other FBI was the one, George Armstrong, that came to the city with the Korean. You know, if anybody can find those people or talk to them or what have you, I would be happy to talk to them. Because this thing is bigger than their little house and their retirement. And if we talk to enough of them, somebody's going to hear the message. Yeah. They're not stupid. Well, they're not smart because they're FBI. But when you got the whole system working with you, you don't have to be smart. All you can, system dictates who it hires, who it fires. The first chance or the last chance? That question is still out. The first chance or the last chance on us. What are we going to do? We're going to listen to boss man? Or we're going to listen to the human family? Okay. So the FBI should have a crisis team too. You know, a team of handshakers and, excuses saying, bullshitters. You know, they should have a team like that. That, they think like this, they think like that. You go over there and just shake hands with them and feed them a bunch of jive. Well, we like to talk to them too. The FBI got a team for everything else. Why they don't have a team for this? They got to have somebody that's designated, right, to come over here, and somebody, they've already watched half of the stuff. If they haven't, they would be remiss. They could not have watched it because of the way they act. They act like they watch it. They act like they understand it. Now it's time for them to come forward. Yeah. Not hide and stuff like that. But have two teams. One is a team that stay hooked up with boss man, another team, other part is the one that blow the whistle and make noise. You know. And when the other team get fired, this team still help them with money and stuff. This is the things that we have to get started in a hurry. This is now. This is not like way off in the future. This is today. Fix the problem, not to blame. This old saying. And it's a good saying. Fix the problem. Fix the world. Forget about who messed it up. There's no time to, you messed up this. You know way Don always blaming everybody? He don't fix the problem. He fixed the blame. Now he do. He fix it. He take all the credit for anything good happened. He take all that credit, and anything that went bad, they did it. We got a lot of stuff going for us. In the joint, when we was little kids, some counselor that was messing up, acting funny, we throw him for no control. Because there would be only one or two people running the whole little 60 boys or something. No control is you throw them for no control. We don't do nothing you say. Except we'll line up to go over and eat and come back. But after that, we ain't doing nothing. Sit down and be quiet. We start hollering. Get in line. We start walking. It was a tactic. Hey man, because we say, hey man, let's throw this boy for no control. That means we're not cooperating. India did it with, right? Mahatma Gandhi did it with the British Empire. Threw them for no control. We're not cooperating. Hollywood, if some of the wealthy, if the people that know the truth, we start working. If they don't want to help, don't help. We're just going to do what we're going to do. We're going to plant trees. You don't have to plant trees. We're going to plant them, right? We're going to get with all the people that want to plant trees and help plant trees. The money, you got your money, government, you keep your money. We'll save our money. We know what's real and what's not. We're going to do this. That's no control. The more successful we are, right? Or if they don't like it, then they have to come. They have to do like our property in Oakland. The minute we said we're going to use that for homeless, the unhoused, they sold it. We get it back. They don't even give the nigga the money. There's too much money here. They ain't give him that money. They don't give him none of that money. So, soon as we want to do right with the property, they sell it. That's what we want to do with the government. We're going to do right. If you want to stop us from doing right, you're going to have to find some dirty, mean ways, right? And we'll be able to block them because we'll have some lawyers, some other people. A lot of people are going to, you can taste this is the time. This is the time. Strategic struggle on many levels. When you start working like that, you get people that they're lawyers, they're technicians, they're high tech, even young kids, and they're better in computers than anybody. So that's where we're headed. Okay. Motivational speakers, the people that do all that. Well, even the motivational speakers, we have to encourage them to make motivational talks for this period, for this time. All of the old stuff, whether it's organization, this, that, and other, the root was money. The only one that wasn't was Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Out of the 12 rules, he made money the last one. But he was a spiritual guy too. He was an ethical guy too. He ain't like these bums they got now. They read a book, 3 or 4 books on speaking good, and I like to listen to them, but I know that they're not what they say they are, but I'm not following them. I'm paying attention to the words. FBI crisis team, da 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 da. Okay. Your choice, them, or our vision of reality. That's about good. And remember, before closing, we've been headed this way all along. A lot of forgiveness is needed, which we're prepared to do. And remember, like I said, Earth First, 2020 vision, January the 3rd. It don't get no closer to 2020 than that. And it haven't stopped yet. From then on, it's been an acceleration. Signs in the economy, da 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 da. Okay, that's that. You can remember all of our from Occupy Wall Street to global harmony. How many Muslims have a global strategy? Right? Well, we may not even have time for the College of Islamic Movement Studies. We got to get busy now. Yeah. But it'll be work and study. Work and study. All the good believers, open letter to the people of Oakland, and also open letter to the people of DC, DC churches, all of those, yeah. And so technically none of this is new. It's just that it's all in the head now. We can all see, when we go behind it, we can see from which it's coming. And thank God we're prepared for it. We're not up in the hills. But we're going to need a lot of help. If any of y'all are out there listening, we need a lot of help starting right now. And this is our message to you. We have a great opportunity now And our goal is to cooperate with as many people on this earth as possible to do good deeds. And we want you to be a part of that with us. I thank you very much. Akula kauli hadha, astaghfirullah li wa lakum. Okay. Okay, what